Well, hi, this is Jeff and the Foxy Lady, and we are here to do some amateur showdown XCon editions and chaos and fun.
What?
Yeah. So happy Friday. Let's do some editing. So I think the plan is we're gonna read the first pages. Read the first pages of all these things. Here, let's get over to this way just a little bit so I don't have to lean too much. We're going to read the first pages and the log lines of all of these. And we're going to pick 2 to read 5 pages of. So, and then we're going to read 5. Yeah. And then we're going to call it. Then we're going to judge. We're going to make our judgment. All right.
Cool. Let's do it.
So I should pull up my notepad. Wow, look at all that. Python, yay. Save, and then no, and then this we're gonna have. I might slide this over this way, and then we're gonna add our notepad. Ooh, window capture, notepad, bloop.
Derp.
Oh, I see. I turned it off. Oh well. There we go. Look at that tiny little minuscule notepad. All right, so dead mileage.
Crime/drama. Following his recruitment to drive for a dark web ride-share service, an ex-con runs afoul of his dark web.
Like the evil Uber. I thought Uber was evil enough. Dark web ride-share service. The next con runs afoul of his new employer when he interferes in a passenger's business. It's very vague. Vague. Not super clear. On this log line.
This is supposed to be like a John Wick Uber service movie.
Yeah. Is this like the transporter? Yeah. And I think I want a hint of what the business is. Like, is it like an affair? Is it a cat that is really mean? You know, you don't know in this land.
How does he interfere? Does he overhear something? Does he punch somebody in the face?
It's no longer a John Wick movie. Let's find out. First page challenge here. Exterior, minute flat, gasoline, Los Angeles night. Oh my gosh, there's no dialogue. That's sad. That always, the first page block of text is acceptable, but it's always a little bit of a hard read. The lone lit outpost on a deserted industrial drag. Hyundai Sonata sits in the furthest pump from the station's convenience store. Not pumping. Minute flat gasoline. Oh, I see. Cheap chrome seats. Okay. Chris Chang stares at the rearview mirror. Its stem hosts at least 10 pine tree air fresheners bunched together. Puts on a Nike thermal running gloves, carries an average build, is putting things on. Glass walls, middle shelves aglow, lone attendant. Sudden flash of headlights across the rearview mirror. Chris turns in his seat and spots a Honda Civic accelerating a curve out the front. Screams to a halt, burns over the front. Back passenger doors open at once.
3 masked men hurry out. Armed with assault rifles, they sprint toward the store with zero regard for the Sonata. Chris takes a deep breath, steps out of the car.
This feels very like something I've seen a lot before. I think this is like it has some action. And mystery, but dudes in masks is something I've seen many times before. I want a hint of the twist on the cliche from P1, especially if the action line for this page 1 is this kind of, you know, dudes in masks cliche, and it's not like a bad thing, but I want to see the twist. Like, what makes this different? Oh, you know what? I forgot to tell the kind Scriptshadow folks that were editing Scriptshadow.
Some water.
Yes. So people can come and fight for their work and say, Jeff, you're full of crap. You didn't understand that at all. Do you mind topping off my glass while you're at it? We were listening to the Hook song. It was nice. Na, 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 na. Nee, 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 nee. All right. Now about to
It's very full. Be careful.
do a live edit
It's
of
very
these
full.
stories.
Okay.
We'll post the vote and video after. Join us and give feedback. Whoa. Here.
It's very full. Be careful.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I'll just take a sippy poo right as we speak. Look, it's us.
Wow.
Gosh, we look amazing.
I look fantastic.
Wow. All right. Anywho, back to the wax of bees. All right. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not leaning towards this one for the
it's
one.
like kind of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think?
Yeah, I just like John Wick, so I think the thing that makes John Wick amazing though is the dog, so
Yeah.
it's not like blowing me away, but I wouldn't say it's like terrible. I want to know what's gonna happen.
Okay. All right. That's good. I think that's the interesting thing is, you sometimes, like I think John Wick does have the dog, which, like you said, is the strange attractor. I kind of wish there was something that's unique that I'm like, oh, that's a new angle that I haven't seen before, and I wonder what this will, materialize into. You killed John Wick's dog. You should have killed him.
Speaking of, that's coming out sometime this year.
Dog Wick?
John Wick 3.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh, wow. Jeez, Keanu, man. The Continental. They also had the really great device of the Continental, like the Assassin Hotel.
Yeah.
The rules. They did a lot of good world building in John Wick. And if we read those first 5 pages, I will really want to see some from the start. Because even from John Wick from the start, he had those special golden coins that we were like, what is up with that? There were those unique things that were signaling to us that there's a more complex world than just like the core, guys shoot 'em up movie. So that would be something I would want to see in the first 5 pages if we go into them. The Velveteen Rabbit Redux. Velveteen Rabbit, 1940s New York City. A friendless boy struggles to find a solid gold rabbit his aunt left him with the promise that he can make it real. While trying to stay a step ahead of the tyrannical curiosity shop owner aims to steal it and lock it in a case forever.
Velveteen Rabbit wasn't gold though. It was snuggly.
I also wonder, why would he want a real rabbit when you can sell that gold rabbit to buy a rabbit farm? Yeah, so I would want some. So, like the logline, that's the one challenge of having more details in your logline, is you do kind of have at least some. You have to have some sort of, I feel like, hint of an internal logic, and I think that's one of the things that breaks for me a little bit in this particular logline.
I also feel like, just in general, the story of the Velveteen Rabbit is more about the rabbit. So, it feels like a lot. I mean, from the logline, it doesn't sound like that's about the rabbit story at all. Maybe it is, but so that makes me not want to read it, because it's really about the Velveteen Rabbit becoming real by being loved and being worn, and that's a really good story. But this sounds more just like action, adventure, gold rabbit, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I got really excited and then I was like, oh. Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I know. Are we emotional core by not focusing on the rabbits? All right. Fade in. Exterior town of Riley, New York. Establishing summer.
It's 1945. The war is over. America's back in all her glory. Riley's a Mayberry-esque town, upstate New York, on the Hudson, swimming holes, roast beef and church on Sundays. Adults, of course, are Sir and Ma'am.
Downtown Riley. Main Street sign reading, "Welcome to Riley, New York." Small town hustle and bustle. Riley drugstore, Riley post office, county courthouse, Riley soda shop, cafes, Riley neighborhood. I feel like we're really playing. I think it felt a little overdone already, like the quaintness of it. The quaintness is getting way more space on your first page than I think you need. I would try to cut to the whatever the big moment is. Oh shoot, there we go. Because yeah, I think in period pieces they tend to start slow, which is a risk. Maybe this will pick up, but then every kind of second counts, and these are seconds that I feel like are repeating the same beat. Like this is a beat. This is the same beat. This is the same beat. Picket fences. Yeah, okay, so it's like we've hit the same beat 3 times essentially. You really only need, and this is already a lot. That first paragraph is a ton. So I would just be in downtown Raleigh. I don't know if we need this huge stuff. How are we going to know it's 1945 and the war is over? Like what are you showing us there to signal that? Is there going to be a superscript of 1945? Is there going to be a super script showing us this? How will we see the sirs and ma'ams? Just get to dialogue with a sir and ma'am in it, and I'll know this. So like just get to the part where that's actually happening. Edwin, full of spunk. Great pal, if only someone could see it. Stands to the side. Again, I can't see it. That's the challenge. I cannot see that. And sometimes those one-liners are fine, having something a little more abstract in this character's intro, but that's a tricky one because I literally can't, like, how does that play on the screen? Remember, this is a screenplay, not a novel. Goon, 12, a bully, built like a tank. Red, 12, kids, shoulder, Joy, shy kid, nice to play. Okay, we just got like 6 characters among other kids. Okay. Edwin waves to Joy, line to bat. Joy doesn't see him. Goon's up, smacks the ball. It goes long. Goon sails past first. Come on, Goon, show him who's boss. Goon stops to the third. Joy looks up, looks at the pitcher. Hit the ball, Joey, or I'm coming after you. I'm hitting. Now or never. Edwin sneaks into his outfield. Red gestures, get a load of this. Hold up. Pitcher waits. What do you think before I ramble? Me? Why me?
Yeah, it just seems like every movie I've seen ever.
Yep. Again, we need to see something unique from page 1.
It's like the same characters I've seen.
The same 5 kids and the same game. Baseball.
Hey.
What is the cat doing?
Trying to put the papers down.
Cat.
She's fine now. Leave the papers be.
She wants to read screenplays. Should I drag her over here?
She's like,
What a cat. What a naughty cat.
just a bad girl.
A bad kitty. Alright. The Sun Ghost. So I'm going to lean against this one. So I'm going to put an X. I'm going to say no to that one. We're leaving dead mileage as a possibility for a deeper read. Sun Ghost. During World War II, family imprisoned in Japanese American internment camp must prevent a violent ghost from worsening relations between their fellow internees and the camp's administration. It's always tricky to pull off, like, supernatural in a period piece, but I'm interested. Let's prevent a violent...
Sounds kind of interesting if it's
Yeah. All right.
San
San Francisco. Woo woo.
Walks down the city street carrying a book bag. Stops at a fence, looks around, set his face, published bookmark.
Here and there, but none of them watching. He squeezes through a gap in the fence, entering an empty construction site. He wanders among pillars of concrete through skeleton of a condominium building in progress. At the edge of the site, he squats by a patch of wildflowers, a secret garden. He examines their colorful blossoms and pulls a canteen in his bag, tenderly waters the plants. He hears something, turns around. Two boys loom over him. Brothers, white, menacing. The younger one is Kotsuke's age and sports a cut lip. You gonna be older boy?
Jeez, Pete, this little rice rat kicked your ass.
That's him! Kosuke's on his feet now, looking for an escape route.
You sure? They all look alike.
He's got the stained face!
Oh, what a step forward, then a swing. Kosuke dodges a punch, runs. Brothers chase him into the... So that one at least is different. Like, I like the moment of, like, watering the flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that at least was, like, unique.
Mm-hmm. The sun ghost.
Cat.
This is unique. Not sure. Feel iffy about the mix of supernatural.
Come here.
But open. And then page 1. She's really. You just gotta pick her up because she's too scared to jump. Just gotta. She'll be fine. Yeah. You little nut. You little nugget. It's my very spoke cat. Author of Sun Ghost here to just start it. We are about to. What's up, the real Arvin? How's it going? We are doing all the first pages. Welcome. We're doing all the first pages in the log lines, and we're picking 2 out of these to be the ones we read 5 more pages of. And then we're going from there.
But this one we're liking the uniqueness of the first page.
Mm-hmm.
Woot. Woot indeed. Thoughts now that writer's here?
Yeah. Pay no attention to my search history. I'm a writer, not a serial killer, Brandon Sanderson confirmed. Very nice, Al.
Okay, thoughts?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. He examines her colorful blossoms and pulls a canteen of his bag, telling waters her plants. Yeah, I mean, I see why you liked this one. I kind of like. I know I like it too. I think. I'm trying to find, like, because I'm not clicking with it as much as you did. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out why. And I think like, the tone.
It's just the first page, so.
No, exactly, and that's why I'm more open than the other ones. I think to read more. I think I want a sense of, you know, this kid, the main kid. You know, I want to see some emotion or uniqueness to him. Because, like, it's hard to care about his fight unless something happens, something he does makes me care a little, at least, about him.
I disagree, because I think him, like, caring for this, like, little random garden in the middle of a construction site makes me care about it. Like, I feel like the exact opposite. Because I'm like, oh, what a cute little, like, that's like a nice little moment of somebody like taking the time to like.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure, like, yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah, I think that's like my only. Yeah. But I almost want more personality. So I think maybe, and this is obviously like a very. Yeah, we'll see. I think I'm interested to read future pages to see if I change my tune. That's the only thing, is I feel like, you know, and, you know, this in regards to personality and character. Like, why doesn't he respond to the boys in like a unique way? Like, he is on his feet now, like, you know. I kind of want him to be like, yeah, I whooped your butt. Like, I'm watering my flowers, leave me alone. Like, you know, whatever. I don't know. That's a dumb thing, but like, I don't know. I didn't get a sense of that snap of like personality. This is somebody alive who's got sass and who's got complexity yet. And obviously it's probably because he hasn't spoken.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm willing to give this one more time, I think. So yeah, I'm open.
Cool. All right,
Bridesmen. Ex-party girl settles down with a straight-laced doctor only to find out their engagement party that she slept with all of his future groomsmen.
That sounds like a horror movie.
Is that a horror movie or a romantic comedy? The horror film. And my roommate was happened to be watching The Bachelor. Any thoughts on the logline?
It doesn't really tell me anything about like the problem.
Yeah.
Because maybe the doctor doesn't care. Maybe he's like, whatever, I love you anyways. Like, does it threaten their marriage? Does it?
I was trying and infuse my total lack of personality into this character, so I'll take that as a victory. Hey, well, I mean, and that's so much. I mean, and I know you're joking, but I know that that's so much. And we'll probably read more because I think yours is one of the two that I think that has probably hooked us the most out of these. And like, you know, I'm already kind of like reading ahead a little bit. And but yeah, so that's why so many notes come down to the writer's goals. And I think that's what, you know, it's nice. It's always nice to have the writer on because then you can say, hey, this is what I'm going for. And then maybe it is, you know, saying, hey, look, I want him to be someone that the reader is more distant from early on. And then I think what you'll normally have to do is if you're making a choice like that, thanks for the follow, the real Arvin, much obliged. But if you're making a choice like that and you say, hey, I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm willfully distancing the reader from the character. Then you have to start making other parts of the story act as your hook. Because, you know, the big core of a hook is a character and a problem. A really interesting character with a really interesting problem. And then if you don't have that, you got to make the world super fascinating, or the way the other kids, because like the way the other kids act is very stereotypical bully. So then like these guys have to maybe have a more unique approach. If you're going to say, hey, maybe I don't want his character to really shine through. I want him to be somebody the reader has to fight to understand at first. Then these other kids, everything else needs to be really much more developed to kind of continue to create to continue to generate a really strong hook in spite of some of those choices. You say, hey, maybe I'm going to withhold this. So then everything else kind of needs to like be the momentum in the story as opposed to that. Anyways, bridesmaids. So yeah, maybe the doctor doesn't care. You know, I don't really get a sense from the logline. You know, yeah, I can get whether maybe it doesn't care. Like, what is the problem of the screenplay? And I think I want to get a hint of that.
Is a problem, but how does that affect the story? Like,
yeah, or like give me a hint of how this is going to play out.
Does she have like one night to find a way to rectify it before the marriage is called off, or something like that, or is it?
Yeah, I think that's a great thing. Like if that was just like one more sentence, that would be like, hey, like the doctor enraged. You know, she has
one night to make amends or by I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think like because like even this one, like we have a sense of like there's an issue, there's an internment camp, like there's gonna be some sort of like confined issue. But anyways, a hole in wall bar, local watering hole, confusing combination of tiki bar and biker hangout.
Oh wait, what was this?
This is the bridesman.
Okay, cool. Thought we skipped ahead.
Olivier Boyer, charming yet dorky, sits at the bar. Huh?
Oliver?
Oh, I know people name. I know I get him, Olivia. Here you get advice.
Charming yet dorky.
Sits on the bar, nursing a pint. Milos, 30, a tattooed Hawaiian bartender, cleans. Milos, do you want to be the tattooed Hawaiian bar?
So I guess this means you won't be stopping by for last call anymore?
I'm sure I'll find the time. Milos smiles. Bree Wexler.
Her hair is so much disheveled, tangled in a dollar store birthday tiara. Can I have bourbon? Neat.
Milos nods to Bree. He makes suggestive dances to Oliver, who makes to make a move, clearly being something Oliver lacks. Milos slides over to Bree's drink.
You can be Milos.
It's on the house. Looks like you aren't the only one celebrating there, Oliver. Bree looks to Oliver. She smiles sheepishly. Happy birthday. Or your who's Oliver?
I'll be.
Happy birthday. Bree looks at him with confusion and feels her tiara.
Oh, right. Thanks.
The two sit awkwardly and Bree sips the drink.
Happy birthday, you two?
It's not my birthday. I just graduated med school. Yeah, interesting setup. I mean, They meet in the middle of Bree's binges. I'm kind of wondering what besides her attractiveness is, catching Oliver's attention. And maybe, there's obviously like the very stereotypical thing you see all the time is like, they're shooting the bull and then the lady will solve a Rubik's Cube or do something really crazy that like the guy's like, whoa, I thought you were just a normal person, and she's like, no, I'm
a cool lady.
I just have like emotional problems or whatever it is. So I think that's Oliver seems interesting. I actually kind of like the way he's evoked. Bree, and that's tough. Bree seems a little bit of a stereotype right from the get-go. She's and this is actually something I'm struggling with one of my stories, where from the second that character is introduced, when you introduce them as a type, you're going to immediately have to fight uphill to make them complex. And she's the main character, not Oliver, at least from what it sounded like from your logline. So, and this is something I have. I have one of my main characters who is, I kind of stereotype them and say, oh, he's like a chunky nerd, what do I know about being a chunky nerd? But then immediately, it's much harder. It was much harder for me to develop that character later on, because once the reader gets the type, they kind of stick with the type. So, Bree is typed so directly early on. This could pose a risk, in making her complex later. Maybe have some thing that's off about her or her image. Maybe she's wearing army fatigues. Who knows? That's a stupid thing, but that would be a contrast. I'd be like, why is the drunk chick in a tiara wearing freaking army fatigues and has a shotgun? That would be what the heck? That's a really bad example. But it needs to be something on that level, and I think that's what I'm going to try to do in the story that I'm writing that has that problem, is to say, okay, whenever you give a cut and dry description of a character, especially a very heavily typed one, it's going to put you it's going to put you at the bottom of a very long hill up towards complexity. And usually if you can make that initial description of that character have a little bit of irony, a little bit of a twist, it will really open up your possibilities, I think, a lot in terms of just making the reader more open to a complex character. So what do you think, Bridesman?
Probably not.
Probably not? Okay.
Not my cup of tea.
So far we got Sun Ghost and Dead Mileage as our highest likelihood first five pages. All right. Vulturine. Spelling is not my strong suit.
Says the writer.
Yeah, feels bad. 1986. I'm gonna read that. My voice is getting shot.
A straight-laced air marshal's plan to smuggle his demon-possessed daughter on a commercial flight from Chicago to Montreal is complicated by the late addition of 3 passengers, an unscrupulous fellow marshal and a pair of veteran exorcists. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that does sound pretty cool. Yeah, I like that one. The battle.
Never would have thought of that.
Again, I think the one thing is the motivations, doesn't he not want her to be exercised? Yeah. That would be the only thing is only thing
that is that a bad thing? Wouldn't that be a great
feels
thing?
Off for me is the motives. Wouldn't it be good for this lady for his daughter to be exorcised? Yeah, so I think this is enough to keep me going. I think, I'm curious. I think it's that Danielle said, it's a great setup. But again, I think the one thing that I'm walking away from that logline from is a bit of just dis-ease about well, isn't that a good thing? Great, he's gonna get exercise. And it seems like a very unkind thing to do. Like, this dude is bringing a demon-possessed lady on a plane. Like, if that doesn't sound like, a really dangerous thing to do for everybody else on that flight,
yeah.
I don't know what is. So, like, again, that's another risk in terms of, making this character likable. Okay, let's read. Fox is telling me to shut up.
I just want to read it.
Yeah. Fade in. An airline seat tray, a thumb of smooth black. Airline seat tray. The thumb of a smooth black hand taps anxiously. There is a ring on the thumb, fashioned from a strip of fuzzy green pipe cleaner. A black thumb. How is that working? It's like tapping on
the thumb of a
airline seat tray.
Yeah, like tapping.
Oh, okay. Taps anxiously. I see. This is a weird image for me. Shannon, hey guys, writer of Vulturine here. Thanks for looking awesome. Looking forward to checking it out. Welcome. Came just in time.
Well, just preface. We're looking at the first pages before we decide.
Yes, we are picking. But you came in at least now.
This one exists now because they're fleeing it. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Probably comes from the story.
Yeah. Okay. Attached to the hand. Attached to that hand is attached to that hand. Attached to that ring. Okay. A little bit verbose, and I think one thing is like that first page, like the grammar is going to be key. Little verbose for the second paragraph. Smooth the prose as much as possible. It's huge for, especially early on. So keeping the prose as smooth as possible and as clear as possible is. I don't think it's too bad of a faux pas, but it's just something that it's stopping our read. Okay, crisp, suited, serious-looking African-American, with exception of that rogue digit.
It's supposed to be rogue.
Rouge? Is it red?
All
right, I gotta reread this. Hold on. All right. The thumb of a smooth black hand taps anxiously. There's a ring on the thumb, fashioned from a strip of fuzzy green pipe cleaner, accented by the ties of silver garland every few centimeters. Cute. Attached to that hand, attached to that ring, is Trent Donovan, late 30s, a crisp, suited, seriously National American. With the exception of that rogue digit, he's a block of pure ice, probing with every available inch. Probing? Every available inch of...
With his eyes.
Oh, I see. Again, clarity. I think the thing that's kind of getting to be a little bumpy is kind of that initial prose. Again, stuff like the cute, these types of comments, they're not my personal favorite, but a lot of people use them, and I think that's fine. But I think the thing is we're losing a little bit of clarity due to the talking to us nature of this voice. Let your, test out having the descriptions be extrememly utilitarian. And that's not everybody's approach, but one thing to test, because I think what's bumping me off the read a little bit here is just the language is kind of unclear at times. Is his eyes? He's a block of pure ice, probing every available inch. Looking at every available inch. Some just funny sentence, word choice, those types of things. So we don't have to have. I think sometimes, at least in my writing, I get tempted to use more kind of zany word choice if I'm trying to kind of create a voice and create something with some more engagement at that level. But try. This is a great setup, so trust your great setup and try just having a utilitarian voice. Just describe exactly, clearly, crisply what's happening, and I would see how it goes.
The year I was born.
1986. Yeah, you are old.
I'm old.
Gross. Ugh. Are you 40? Something like that. Ugh. Okay. Main cabin coach night. Interior of the cabin with its exposed aluminum and powder blue cushion print resembles the inside of a very plush microwave. That's because it's September 1986.
That was a good year.
Amidst the midsection of the blue mini dress whizzes by flight attendant. Flight attendant? Is this Trent? We have not been introduced to Trent.
Yeah, we did. Trent Donovan.
Oh, there it is. Sorry, I didn't see this. I didn't see the bold.
I apologize for him.
I'm sorry, it's late. I'll turn it up. Okay, she's gone before Trent can settle into his annoyance. Across from him. Okay.
So he tries
right,
to
yeah, he tries to grab her. Right side of the blank of seats, young flyer, female, maybe 16, outwardly mousy, cowers against her port window as a handsy guy, 20s. A drunken surfer type with a full mouth of braces looks like he's trying to gently dust lint from the crotch of her jeans.
Huh?
Handsy guy, first flight alone? I can tell. She continues to hope him away. Trent looks forward to the cockpit. Passengers are still dripping in. A little misspelling there, comma. It looks like we just want a comma. Filling in the front first. It's just the three of them. Trent sinks into the seat next to Hansy, straightens his suit, eyes forward, like he knows he won't want them to remember his face. Interesting. All right, so there's a few spelling mistakes. And like nobody's perfect, so I totally came off way more pervy than I intended. And that's
I know, I'm like, is it just like, hey, let me just
rub your pants. So I mean, but that's the helpful thing I think about, and that's why I read stuff aloud on stream for these edits, and I think that's why if you have any friends who like acting, my best piece of advice to any screenwriter is to have them do a table read, because there is nothing more valuable to a screenwriter than listening to how the dialogue sounds by having especially untrained actors like friends and stuff read it aloud, because it is really obvious when there's a bump or something that's not working. Especially if there's not like a trained actor reading it. Anyways, but yeah, so a few spelling mistakes on page 1. I wonder, this is the place if you're going to triple check something, first 10 pages. Yeah, if you're going to make sure your grammar is flawless and everything is flawless, the page 1 is the place to do it. Also, I do kind of want to hint at the supernatural early on. And I know it's page 1, but like, we're spending time with the pervy guy and waving down the flight attendant. I'm not sure what all that is for. That seems like just stuff.
There are people that are going to die.
I hope.
I hope the pervy guy dies.
Well, I hope the pervy guy. I mean, but that's fine. But I kind of want to introduce the threat before I introduce the sheep. I want to see the wolf, and then we can pan out to the flock, and that's way more interesting than seeing all the sheep and then eventually panning out to the wolf. And that's the challenge with screenwriting, is that you do have like a little bit less time, I think. And like page 1, maybe you don't have to be perfect, but like, yeah, I mean, like even on page 1 of my, like one of my screenplays, like immediately, the second, like at this point in the page, like I was introducing that it's someone running drugs illegally for like the drug running one I wrote years ago. So like those are the types of things. Like it's usually you want to like introduce that strange attractor early. So, and it's not necessary because I think you do have room. This is maybe a bit intense in terms of how that's like an extreme. That's like in an ideal world, right? Like obviously you need to do your setup, but that's something to ask yourself as the writer. Could I shift the order? Because this stuff, waving a flight attendant that ignores him. Handsy guy groping someone next to him just as they sat down.
Should we decide?
Yeah, let's decide. So I think I wasn't super in love with Dead Mileage personally.
Yeah, I'm down for Sun Ghost.
So I'm down to do Sun Ghost for
that one.
Yeah, the dark web rideshare service didn't really make sense to me.
The first one we read, so I didn't want
that. But it's an option. So I think, Shannon, give yourself flexibility to ignore, and that's what I always try to just say, is like, you can ignore everything I say, but it's just food for thought to say, hey, like, where can I generate more tension? Is it possible? Is it not? Like, so we're gonna be reading Velveteen Rabbit.
No.
No, I'm sorry, I lied. I'm sorry. We're gonna be reading Sun Ghost, the first 5 pages of Sun Ghost, and then we're gonna be reading the first 5 pages of Vulturine, and then out of those 2, we will select our vote for the night. So get excited. I'm going to go ahead and download them on Firefox so I don't make everything confusing and horrendous.
Hi, 667.
Hey, 667. Yeah. So any questions so far? Because we can... I'm really excited to read both of these. I think you guys definitely the first pages felt the strongest, and the log lines. And I'm glad both of you are here.
I know. That's why
so
I was
that's
like,
that's
hey,
fantastic. The ones we liked the most, coincidentally,
the
were
other
the
guy
people.
liked the setup.
Personally, I liked your setup.
See,
Nice.
everyone's different.
And that's the thing. It's all a question of taste and goals. And I think that's something that, is worth asking yourself to say, hey, like, do I want a slower paced setup? What am I trying to accomplish? And it's just sort of saying, hey, let's, just ask those particular questions. Say, hey, like, is there what, like, I think the thing that you should avoid as a writer is not having the answer. Is when someone says, hey, why did you do it this way? Being like, that's just kind of how I wrote it. Like, that's usually the riskier path. And I think, that's why I want to bring up a lot of questions as I'm reading, because at least you're able to say, hey, Jeff, thanks for that, but no, I'm actually doing it another way because I've chosen that particular way. So, that's something that I always say, hey, like, hopefully that can just, help you solidify even more your thoughts on why you're doing things a certain way.
Okay.
Let's go to PDF and Notepad. Boop. And then how am I going to do this? My computer is cruel. It's a cruel, cruel mistress. All right, I think I'm going to...
Maybe widen the...
Yeah, I'm going to widen the PDF. Boop. I'm going to widen this, and then we're good. And then we did it. We defeated my computer. There we go. Yeah, I mean, when you don't have furry erotica, everything else just looks... Everything else pales in comparison. It's really just the writing style. All right.
Okay.
So we already read this bit, but we can kind of do a quick speed recap.
Little boy, Japanese, goes...
It's in the 1925 Model Ts.
We live in San Francisco, so...
And he's in our home.
Don't come murder us, please.
Please don't murder us, yeah. Something turns around. So I'll scroll up to Sun Ghost where I have my page 1 notes here. Page 2. So I think our note on the first page is we wanted a little bit more character out of the kid, though it is early on. So I'm that note is pending. That was a 1 page.
I'm
patient. That's a page 1 note. So let's get to page 2 and see if we get what we were asking for. Partially completed building. Kosuke dashes down hallways. The bully's hot on his heels. He spots some stairs that lead down into the ground. 2 boys catch up and stare at Kotsuke, who stands at the bottom of the stairs, just outside the doorway to a dark basement.
Leave me alone. I'm warning you.
Or what?
Nice.
I know, guys. Voice acting is really the next step in my career. As the older boy proceeds down the stairs, you'll love page 5 on the Sun Ghost. Oh, wow.
I can tell if he's joking. We'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll definitely at least go to page 5. Yeah. We always read more if we're jiving, because like that's something that I think is fun. It's for the writer to know that, like, hey, you're drawing us forward more into the story. Mm-hmm. All right. So if there's furry erotica, we'll definitely keep reading. Is what I'm trying to say. I'm warning you, or what? Okay, boy lingers unnecessarily at the top of the stairs. Watch out! Older boy tackles Kosuke. They tumble into the basement. One thing, and this is a weird note I got from one of my mentors many years ago. So take it or leave it. I have found it to be useful because it kind of pushes you to characterize and add more characters. Is if a character has more than 2 lines, name them. It'll, push you as a writer to think of them more as a person than a plot point. And like that's not, no hard and fast rule, but that's been a guideline that one of my mentors gave me that I thought was really helpful. That hey, older boy, younger boy, like it's harder to visualize than like Chad or like Billy, whatever.
There would be a Billy.
They would be a Billy, So just food for thought. In that case, I'm at page 50. Okay, the older boy tackles Kosuke. Younger boy warily. Is everything showing up okay? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay. The younger boy warily descends the stairs, squinting in the darkness. He can barely see the outlines of his brother. Then he spots somebody else, the outline of a full-grown man moving through the...
There's someone in there!
No! Don't! Leave him alone!
Hey! Who the hell?
He screamed, sending the younger boy running back up the steps.
It's a friendly ghost.
At least friendly to Kosuke.
Yeah.
Matsuo Naga, 40s Japanese, escorts a man, 40s white, out of the house.
Furnishings here are Western, with a few subtle exceptions. A cubby for shoes.
I wonder, I mean, these character descriptions, maybe these are short characters we're only going to see for a short period of time. Your descriptions are really spare. Are these people only going to see... And if that's the case, we've been getting a lot of characters cycling in and out.
Yeah, maybe at least like what they're wearing is always helpful.
Yeah, clothes is one of the most... Yeah. Clothes is one of the
like are they traditional Japanese
easy
like,
ways
like
to in a kimono or like you know,
or are they like kind of like in
are they in
jeans
like
and
you know
t-shirt?
20s suits or you know
Oh
or
yeah, 20s.
clothes are one of the easy ways to show a character's social status you know culture. So yeah, always that was another thing one of my mentors said was like, hey, clothes are the biggest thing. Oh wow.
There's another bag. Just crumbs.
You give a fox some chips.
They're healthy.
And they will all go away.
They're healthy.
I know that's true. They are healthy. But they are not in my tummy. Take care of the doctor's bill, of course. I see that you do. My wife wanted me. All right.
I'll take care of the doctor's bill, of course.
See that you do. My wife wanted me to call a lawyer.
I understand. Thank you.
Matsuo closes the door behind the man, then turns to Kosuke, who sits on the couch. Okay, so this guy's his dad, I'm guessing.
Sounds like it.
So then he definitely needs more description. Hanko Nagata. Whatever her hands on it. So this is his dad and his mom. So I feel like I definitely need more about his dad and his mom because that will really help me place him and his family. You know, page 3 definitely wants a little more info on the dad and mom. Matsuo shows Katsuki inside the bedroom, which contains 2 narrow beds and a window in the city view. Is that how you behave when you're head of? Is that how you'll behave when you're head of this family? Hmm?
It wasn't my fault.
Whose fault then?
You.
Oh, he glances away from the father towards the closet door. It's ajar, revealing a few inches of darkness. Don't you dare tell another lie.
They called me a rat, and
The boys called you names. We live in this house. You go to a good school. Well, yes, we do live in this house. And you break a boy's arm because he calls you names?
Maybe they're saying like...
Yeah, like we've been given so many blessings. Yeah. I would give some sort of emphasis, like an underline here.
We live in this beautiful house.
And there is a little bit of room. You know, a little bit of room for like trimming the dialogue. Nothing too bad. It's not too bad. I think this is the only dialogue line. This one probably could get a little bit shorter, like no more lies or something like that, but that's fine. I don't think that's I think that's a nitpick. Yeah, it seems working. It doesn't matter. Oh, is that the dad? Oh, they started. Oh yeah. It doesn't matter. When you fight, it reflects badly on all of us.
Everything you do, every word you speak must prove you're more than a criminal. You might be a citizen, but when they look at you, they see a foreigner. Understand?
Yeah, again, this is a long, kind of unbroken speech. I wonder if that could be a little bit. That's kind of where, yeah. Runs for a long time, pretty much broken, and one is over 5 lines. One
4
bit, yeah, over 4 lines, which usually is an indication to trim. Hi, Novelist. Welcome back.
Novelist.
Sure enough, you're on. Can I stand right next to you while I get edits too? You can indeed.
Yes.
I'll always give edits.
I want to open another bag of these.
Yeah, do it. I'll eat some. After a grim pause, Matsuo slams the door. After long, Kosuke stands in the closet, sliver of darkness. Voice. Kosuke! He whirls around and sees Anake Nagata, Japanese, poking her bespectacled head from behind one of the small beds. Have you been here this whole time? She gets up and flops on her bed, holding a collection of Edgar Allan Poe.
Wait. You skipped ahead. Hang on.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was reading.
After a grim pause, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
You want to be Akane? She seems like a girl.
He's so dramatic. Everyone you speak must prove you're more than a criminal.
I feel like this explains more than this. Because whenever a character is talking about another character, that gives a lot of... It gives you, like, so much information. Because it's who that person thinks that character is. So it tells you both about the person they're talking about and themselves. So I feel like this line is doing a little bit more work than this line.
I agree.
So I think Akane's... I think I'd go page 4. Akane's line is doing so much good work for characterizing the dad. You might not need him to be so, on point and on the nose.
Wait, I just realized this is the sister and not the mom.
Oh, yeah, the mom was something with an H.
Oh, okay.
But this does also say that we've met a lot of characters. They've all been given minimal descriptions, so it's a little hard to prioritize. We've met a lot of new characters. And with, only Akane getting, a bit more description, it's a bit hard to place everyone. Hana is named after my grandma. That's awesome! Hana is named after his grandma.
Aww.
Hanako. Wow. I do have dyslexia, so this could be my excuse for bad pronunciation. Mild. Okay. Oh no, was it? Oh, that's you. It wasn't me.
Oh no, was it your pet ghost?
There's a pillar at her. Moonlight beams through the bedroom window. Our 2 children sleep in their beds. Creak? Wanna go while I'm chewing? Sorry.
Looks to the closet door, still slightly ajar, climbs out of bed, approaches the closet, opens the door, gazes into the darkness for a long moment. I have nothing but trouble. You need to go away. His eyes flutter open. I don't even believe in you.
Kosuke?
I made you up. You're not real. I don't need you and you're not real.
You're doing it again. Wake up.
Hangs on a chain of light, spills from a hanging bulb, illuminating nothing except for clothes. Climbs back into bed. Turn your light off.
Leave it.
All right, jeez.
She turns to bed and shows light bulb.
Thoughts?
Well, again, like
I
think.
God, eating crackers. Bye. Not crackers. They're
Blue video game. Raids. Welcome.
Chips.
Hello. The crackers had a nice ASMR effect. This is Twitch. I feel like you have to have some sort of creepy audio experience, right? So what am I thinking so far? I like the family getup. I like the setup of the family. And I know it looks like we're getting to the internment camp right here, so I might read just another page to kind of see where that develops. But again, it feels a little separate. Like it feels like a ghost story here, and then the internment camp's here. Like But then now we're in the internment camp, and I guess he's there. So I can just read really quick just to kind of catch up. Bring of the Utah Desert to Japanese American internment camp, rows of barracks surrounded by fenced and watchtowers. Okay, pretty expected.
So that was in
this
the
was
past.
before, yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
But now he's how old?
29.
29. Oh, interesting. Man, if that's just a kind of a bookend flashback, I think it needs to be shorter than 5 pages. That's like a lot of page
I didn't
time.
know that it was going to jump ahead.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of time to spend in the flashback. Like, I think my days are passing slowly. What are you building? This is a we're editing awesome the real Arvin's Arvin's screenplay. Feels like 2 days ago was a week ago. Man, that's life, isn't it? Sometimes it goes like molasses. But yeah, so my gut is that if that initial sequence was just a bookend, it feels like it needs to be a lot more efficient.
I agree.
Especially, we have a full bully sequence,
We have like the talk with the parents. We have like a nighttime.
But it's tough because we'll never meet these characters again. I'd only keep that much if say the bullies come back. Bullies are the, people running the camp, whatever. That would be interesting, and that would be a good reason to spend more time in that earlier sequence. Thanks for the bits, Blue Video Game. Much obliged.
Good.
Thanks for filling the old jar. But yeah, I think I like the setup. I think this is a really clever premise. That intro section, though, I think is going to be a bit of a difficult thing to manage because it is really long, and you literally introduce 7 characters.
I feel like the most efficient. I mean, it's tough because I feel like you're trying to show the ghost doing things, have the conversation that sets up the type of world that they live in as Japanese.
Like before, yeah.
And also show him not wrestling with the fact that he sees this ghost. But I feel like there's a way to streamline it, have him coming in coming into the house with a black eye and having his dad be like, what happened? And having him be like, I got in a fight again. And then the dad being like, you have to blah, blah, blah. And then him being like, but my ghost saved me. And he stop it with the ghost. And then having a really shortened scene of the nighttime of him or something like that.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
you
agree.
could it would lose a little bit of the scene. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
but
I think I completely
but it would get
agree.
this if you could get all that across.
Because you're trying to do a lot of good things, but I think you
Yeah.
can just take those good things and compress. Because the bully sequence, isn't that different. It's not something super new besides the fact that the bullies get beat up, and they're not coming back because they're not even named characters. And they're kind of as on the nose as bully gets. So this probably is the sequence that you can probably cut. So that saves you a page there.
And then maybe have the
2 pages. That saves you 2 pages if you just cut to, the doctors and the crying boys. Just have and this is just food for thought. But I think that there is just some room to trim. Yeah, I think for us, it feels like you're making us invest time and emotion into these characters, but they're not fully evoked because you as the writer know they're not going to come back. It's we only have these younger boy, older boy bullies, and then it's kind of like a bait and switch a little bit. We're okay, well here's the family. Can we care about the family? And then, I'm assuming the dad maybe isn't there or something has happened because it's been such a long time.
Yeah, I think it establishes good things. But yeah, I think it could just be a little shorter.
Yeah, I would definitely, because this is the story.
Yeah, now I'm I'm kind of bummed. I mean, we have
Yeah, I'm oh, well, here we are at the story. And who's Sarah? This is another character. So we're we've been introduced to so many characters. It's very hard to prioritize who matters, right? Because we just had almost 8 characters because we have the bad kids' parents. We have the mean bully's parents. We have
They did?
Yeah, we have the 2 bullies. We have the bully's parent. The
parents?
bully's dad was like pushing on his dad outside. We have his dad, his mom. We have Kotsuke. We have Akane. We have the ghosts. That's 8 people to keep track of. And then we're gonna come right down here, and then we're say, okay, forget about all those 8 people. Here is older Kotsuke. Here's new Akane snoring. Here's Mimi Nagata. Here's Susan, and this is all on another page. Or Saya. So that's 4 more people than other page. So we're within 5 pages. This is page 6. Within 6 pages, we're getting introduced to like 12 characters.
Yeah, I think just to like get there faster, because that seems like where the story really starts.
Yeah,
but you can still get it across.
And one of the best things you'll ever do for your story, in my POV, there's 24 characters for page 12, and that's a huge opportunity, and that's what's awesome. I think is that one of the best things you can do for a story, I think, is to combine characters, because what that lets you do is that lets you take.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I see your point.
I was like, oh, okay.
No, but like even then, like it lets you take, I think. Because, sometimes your brain will think, oh, well, maybe this, because, in our minds, we kind of have little personalities for all these different people. And then it can kind of like make you combine them. And when you do, some of those little bits of those, minor characters combine and make it more complex and interesting, bigger character. Maybe the dad and the mom are combined. Where like, the mom is kind of like more hanging back and this nurturing
it's the
person.
Mom dad.
Yeah, like, it's a bad example. But like, maybe, there is more like this, like the dad has a more nurturing side, because the dad is pretty one note, like, hey, you're making us look stupid, like, don't do that. So like maybe he like sighs and does what some of the mom is doing, which is like, hey, look, I know this is hard. These people want to, like maybe there is that mix of.
Yeah, I don't even think the mom says anything.
But does she say anything? I thought, or maybe it's his sister that's more nurturing. That's right. Akane's kind of the one that's coming in. But she factors in later. But yeah, just food for thought. But overall, I think this was a really solid start. I like the premise. I like the logline a lot. And I'm looking forward to reading the full review very soon, hopefully. But we still got to place our vote. And there's another finalist here, which is Vulturine, out of our 2 finalists. And then we're going to place our vote. But great job. I really liked it. I think it's awesome. I think it's just maybe just a few things to tweak, tighten up. And I think it's really heading in a great direction. All right. Okay, this is the airline one. Fade in airline seat. The tapping thumb. The nervousness. This is the handsy, kind of the creepy guy that's groping the person next to him. Like he knows, he won't want to remember his face. Trent. And Trent is the main character who just tried to flag the flight attendant. Yeah, thank you very much for reading those pages. Yeah, and feel free to ask any questions. This is open forum. So if you say, hey, Jeff, this doesn't make sense, or what do you think about this particular thing, let me know. Woohoo!
Good job, Robin.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Indeed.
These are the good ones. I mean, they're all,
Yeah, man, why don't you find another seat? I wasn't... Oh, yeah, here, I'll be Trent. You doing okay?
Yeah, man. Wouldn't you find another seat?
I wasn't talking to you. Trent leans forward a notch and meets eyes with the young flyer. She-Ra Screen Tea?
She-Ra? This is 1986. You don't know what She-Ra is?
Man, I was homeschooled.
Oh, you're so dumb.
Man, I was homeschooled. Back off. Eyelashes wet with regret.
How do we know it's regret and not sadness?
Good point. Again,
pops
yeah,
into my brain.
That's a really great thing. Yeah, I mean, these are the things that again, how does the regret play on the screen? How do we know this is she's feeling? All right.
You're Trent.
You got sisters?
None of your business.
I'm sorry, you find that question invasive?
No, I ain't got sisters.
What about your mother? You got one of those? What do you think about some stranger trying to lotion her up when she cries?
Screw this man. What is this guy doing to this girl on the plane?
Yeah, man. Now it's Hansy who looks molested. Poor Hansy. Trent registers this two out of bounds. Too early. Smooths Hansy's shirt.
You want to stalk me or something?
That's a funny word. Because he's like a teen. I guess this is the 80s.
Yeah, it's the 80s.
The dialogue is playing a little funny for me. Dialogue feels a bit on the nose, especially about the mom. I wonder... I mean, I'm not like super against it. What do you think? Am I being too Am I being too nitpicky? The dialogue, and it's not like in a bad way. It's kind of playing out how I would expect it to play out, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like, this is kind of verbatim what I would think. Like, what if he like just sits next to...
I'm just waiting for the demon child to like...
pushing up what you could. Yeah.
the demon child to just like eat this guy, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so she's okay with it. And that's the thing. Different readers, different things.
I know that like I think it's supposed to seem kind of like normal, and then there's like the young flyer, the victim is actually this like...
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of how I'm
but again, that's a risk whenever your reader is that far ahead. Like, what if the girl stands up for herself even though she's demon possessed? That would be interesting. So that's the thing, because like, and then maybe I'm being like a bit of like a weirdo about it. So you guys can take this or leave this, but like, I think the fact that like Danielle and I both are saying, hey, this girl is probably the demon possessed girl, and there's gonna be the Hansy guy's gonna be in a world of hurt or whatever. And maybe we're wrong, so that's great if we are. But yeah, like those types of things are great. Maybe this is fine because this is leading us on to make bad predictions, but I don't know. You want to suck me something? That's assault. That's illegal. I can count the times I've broken the law on one hand. Can you? Anyway, this ain't about me. Sneak. I mean, switchblade pops up in front of Hansy. Found this tucked behind the seat in front of me. Illegal on the plane, but it ain't mine. Trent folds the blade, flashes Hansy to a young flyer.
Played by Liam Neeson.
She takes the knife. Next time he touches you, bury that at the top of his spine. That's so hardcore.
You open it again. It's
Jesus.
Watch his kneecap hit the back of that seat and roll around on the floor like a tiny ashtray. Y'all have safe flight.
Jeez.
I like it.
That feels like, okay, so this depends on your tone and your world building. Like, if this is more of a slapstick tone and more of like a Die Hard kind of epic chaos world, that works. And this goes back to your goals. Like, do you kind of want this more extreme chaotic tone? Maybe it's the way we're reading it. But that's the question to ask. Like,
I think it's funny,
it's funny, yeah. but remember, like, this.
It does make it a little bit like. It takes me a little bit out of like the tension and makes me just kind of like LOL, which is fine if that's what you're going for.
The intensity of T's dialogue is good, but it does undermine the reality. Also, would he really, if he's a air marshal, would he really be giving a little girl a switchblade on a plane? Like, I think that and that goes down to the tone. Like, if this is like a Expendables, you've seen that movie with, all like the action heroes in it. Like, if this is, or if this is like, some kind of, you've seen Expendables, or you've heard about it, where they have like Chuck Norris and everybody and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all the action comedy people, they all are like doing some crazy action, or Fast and Furious, the Fast
I never saw
Five.
That either.
Wow. Well, this has been a great marriage, but that's about it. We tried. No, I'm just kidding. But
you haven't seen Clueless, so
I'm always going to watch it. But yeah, so like this, it goes down to the question of tone. And the trade-offs. If it's that more slapstick, kind of like anything's possible tone, you're going to lose some of that dramatic potential of tension, right? Because it means that more things are possible in the world, so that you can get out of problems more easily when you can like throw a switchblade on someone's forehead, and like those types of things. When there are like the action tropes, it's going to make the drama kind of less substantial, because we know that there's going to probably be some like epic karate chop that's going to like throw someone out the window, and the window's going to break, and they're going to get stuck in it, and the air's going to suck everybody out.
Like John Wick.
Yeah, and then but thankfully, because so and so's torso got stuck in the window, we're all saved. Whatever. Give her a knife.
Give me the knife is where he's at the moment. It's been ejected for 24 hours.
But I haven't given you context, so his tone waivers got it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be something, like with the thumb tapping, like maybe there's something you can develop there. Maybe he gets a huge whiskey from the attendant, and he's like, double shot of whiskey, yeah. So, and you're layering that in.
He was trying to flag down the waitress.
I agree, but it didn't pay off. Like maybe he was getting a Coke or asking her to close the window, and that's, food for thought. And it's up to you, honestly. The intensity of T's dialogue is good, but it does undermine the reality of the world. Also, would an air marshal give a little...
Plus, that is his daughter, I'm assuming.
Girl a knife. Out of blue.
I'm
we're assuming it's his daughter.
Who's being molested by some creeper.
Yeah. I agree. Trent
I
moves...
would probably... give her a knife.
He moves to the traveler. Trent moves to the center roads, and the flashing lights outside catch his eye. He moves to the next aisle, pausing, let a traveler pass, and moves to the left bank, pierces the window.
So is he sitting?
He's not sitting.
Okay, I didn't realize he wasn't sitting. I thought
he's been walking around.
Oh, I thought he was sitting next to them.
No, I thought he was going to try to sit next to them, but he ended up leaving. Right? Yeah, so Hansy's being a creep.
So maybe this girl isn't the...
He's like, why don't you find another seat? And then he does find another seat.
I thought that they were sitting...
Okay. I mean, I would believe it more if he just moves the kid, like why doesn't he just make, Hansy leave and take his seat?
Do you guys edit novels?
Oh yeah, we do indeed, Ben's chat. We've done these are our free, the free. We always do some edits for free on Twitch. Oh, is it edits? I don't know my own commands. Great. Yeah, we always do some edits free on Twitch, but then we also have done more. And that's usually like first 5 pages, and these are more instructive. We're kind of talking with the audience and having fun. But yeah, we do more structured development editing for both novels and screenplays. And yeah, just check out finalboss.com and you can see some examples. I think there's a screenplay.
Maybe this is like the no nonsense Marshall.
No nonsense Marshall?
Because remember in the logline, it's like the one air marshal's trying to get his daughter out, and then there's like the no nonsense Marshall who also happens to be on the plane with the exorcist. I mean,
it could be, but again, like you kind of have to just take what's on the page as what's on the page.
Yeah,
like you can't
I was trying to
think too much about the logline.
Maybe not. I don't know. She did say he's had a crazy 24 hours.
Moves to the next aisle, pause, let the traveler pass. Police escort is guided in a limo, which now parks at the private jet. Trent watches curiously, turns. That flight turns out just the same flight attendant passed by. Miss. She keeps it trucking. Moving with the attendant now. Melina, early 30s. She moves up to the main cabin, which is steadily filling with passengers. She smiles cordially, helping an elderly woman. Melina is new, agey, silky, but chiseled. A cauldron of potential bubbles beneath her surface. Again, these are tough to visualize things. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, yeah, that's awesome, Benz. Do you do any writing? Is there meant to be a bit of levity to this scene, or are you writing it totally straight? I mean, and that's the thing. Like, that's kind of one of the great things about having weirdos, goofballs reading it, because you can kind of,
we will find levity.
We will find the levity, and obviously, hopefully, but this is a script where the whole plane ends up drugged with LSD. So, oh wow. Okay, so there's some extreme stuff that's gonna happen.
Playing it straight.
Okay. So we can try to play it a little straighter. Again, that line is so extreme. It may be undermining that. It's good to know that that's your goal for your tone, though. That line may be starting to undermine that just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
Okay. Why doesn't he take Hansy's seat? I was kind of wondering about that. This is P3 still. I'm gonna stick that.
Description's a little vague.
Yeah, a cauldron.
I've been on that
Not
flight.
sure.
Haven't we all, man? Haven't we all?
I'm not sure what it means or how to visualize this on screen. And this is one of the tough things with screenplays is you want, as a writer, you ache to communicate that abstract point, that kind of nuance of what you're trying to say. But with a screenplay, you have to remember that this is a technical document. This document is a slave to the camera. And if you can't display it on camera, in my opinion, and there are some other people who will kind of say against this, but for the most part, you should avoid things. And there are times where you can kind of have that little grace note of what the writer, whatever that grace note is. But for the most part, especially when you're getting into a character, like, hey, she's new agey, silky but chiseled. What does new agey mean? Is she wearing new age clothes? Does she have a bunch of beads around her neck? We have to find...
shaved head?
Yeah, does she shave, is it the really awesome half-shaved head? That's some cool stuff. But again, and that's why I think clothing, like we were talking about in the real Arvin's story. Yeah, clothing, hair, makeup, those types of things can go a long way in communicating. What kind of stuff do new age people wear? A lot of beads, or like, I don't know. I mean, it's the 80s, so, or, probably would be some, but she's the flight attendant, so she was wearing that really buttoned up coat.
No, she's not.
She was, right? This is the flight attendant. Should we mention that earlier? The flight attendant up here, because it's the same.
Not Melina.
Female. No.
Go down.
I'm lying. Okay. Am I mistaken something?
She keeps it trucking, moving with the attendant.
Now she keeps it trucking, miss. But that's her. That's who the attendant is.
And then the camera's moving with the attendant.
So that's who Melina is, though. I think that's. We didn't name the flight attendant. It's a late naming, which some people do it. It's not really a helpful reveal.
I'm also just tired. So.
No, it's all good. So yeah, because she's in a mini blue dress whizzing by, and this I think is tracking on Melina, and I think that's one of the things. I would just name them. If revealing the name later doesn't make a big difference, just name them.
Oh, you're right. She is.
Yeah.
With the link. Okay.
Yeah. So.
I'm done. I missed
No. That's totally reasonable. I think that's like one of the. That's a perfect example.
Especially because you describe her as new agey. I automatically pictured her in new agey clothes, but yeah, maybe just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that is exactly why. Because there's like 1 out of every 10 readers who's not going to pick up on that, or 1 out of every 2 readers in this case who's going to be like, wait, what? So like, and that's why clarity is so critical, especially when introducing characters. And we are again getting a lot of characters early on. So. Something.
It is a plane full.
Yeah, which is true, but it's like focus. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. First 10 pages are like always the pivotal aspects of the screenplay. I feel like because I used to do script reading back in the day, and the first 10 pages that matters. It matters so much to a reader. Moves up to the main cabin, Melina. Why not just give the name from the get-go?
Also, Melina is actually really gross.
What do you mean?
The name, or like it's a scientific name.
Oh, well, maybe we don't need to know.
Yeah. I'm not going to share with you guys. Don't Google it. Don't.
You're an evil person. Right? True evil. Reading for Prodco. Listening, got it, more clarity. This is great. Awesome. I'm glad it's helping. I think you have a really great foundation here, and I think those first.
Did you do reading for a production company?
I did a reading for a friend's script. Oh God, what was it? He was like a script consultant, and I did coverage for him. I was his outsourced coverage many moons ago because he was too lazy.
Awesome.
No, it was this guy named Key Patton. He's a great script consultant, so you can talk to him. But I helped him did some coverage for him, and did writing up, and then a few of my friends. I mean, I just read a bunch of. I lived in LA with a few friends and did a lot of stuff for them. I'm gonna Google. No, don't Google it. Don't Google it right after
WhatsApp Momo.
What's that? Is that another? I'm so out of touch. What's WhatsApp Momo?
Well, you know what WhatsApp is.
I know
Momo is like some creepy. I don't know. It's supposedly it's like this person you can chat with on a WhatsApp, and like it'll tell you to kill yourself, and it's this creepy looking thing with these like huge eyes and this like big like weird beak that's like flesh colored, and it's weird. Yeah. As long as you don't image search it, you're fine. Description's okay.
The internet is too much for me sometimes. Anyways, I get overloaded by the internet. Anyways, so the lower valley continues. The lift clicks to a stop. Melina exits to a spacious lower galley, which runs half the length of the forward cabin. Penny, a 20-year-old newbie attendant, stalks a drink cart. She shoots Melina a knowing grin.
Did I see you-know-who up there?
Shouldn't you be greeting up top?
He sure is a looker. Was it the 1950s?
Yeah, it is I guess looker. What would be the 80s? 80s? Did they say looker in the 80s?
He's a babe. He sure is a babe.
That's true.
Some of the
vernacular. We'll just give you a note to check for anachronistic.
I could be wrong. I was a baby, so.
Yeah.
Czech Republic.
How many agents have you queried by now? I'm doing, for the novel, I'm doing very limited queries. I've only queried 6. So yeah, just waiting. And that's the thing. So, and this is probably good for screenwriters as well. If you're sending out your screenplay, usually, and this is advice I got when I was doing the whole screenplay gambit, you want to have at least 3 scripts done, ready, polished, perfect, before you start talking to agents. You ideally will have 5 finished scripts in your pocket, because when you send a script to an agent and they're like, hey, this was great, but what about whatever else? You're going to want to say, oh, I have these 2 other ones in the bag and they're fantastic and you should read those. And then even if they don't buy any of them, they will probably rep you and have you, work in rewrites for someone else. And then, a production company will say, hey, we bought this sci-fi movie, this sci-fi script from this guy. The guy doesn't know how to write it, but can you rewrite it? You have 3 great, and ideally your scripts will be in the same genre. And they'd be like, hey, Jeff, we saw you did 3 great sci-fi scripts. Why don't you try to take a pass at writing this one? We'll give you $50,000. And that's a great way to make money.
All right, focus.
And scripts, sorry. Fox is getting tired. I got to keep going. She's been working since 6 this morning. So, do I see who up there? Okay, blah, blah, blah.
Sure, son. What? I told you not to fall into the sack with an air marshal.
This is the last month you were punching tickets at this is the last month.
This time last month.
You were punching tickets at a movie theater.
So?
What do you know about it?
I know I told you so.
Well, you should have put some emphasis on how amazing I would feel before he disappeared into thin air.
He's just a man. Besides, you got more important things to be doing.
Like what?
Like flying one of these birds.
Never happen. Good old boys keep hogging the simulator. At this rate, I should finish my hours around the time you're starting menopause. Penny sighs in the elevator with her cart.
So there's still time.
She winks, slowly rising onto the... Okay, like it's a fun exchange. Fun exchange.
Boss's girl voice, yeah.
Yeah, A+.
Quality girl
Thanks,
voice.
Thanks, Judgy. I appreciate it. I'm touched. I'm gonna be...
That's actually just his voice.
It's just my voice. This is a fake.
Yeah.
This is an accent. That's really how I talk in the Valley. Fun exchange, but I'm wanting to get a, sense of, momentum. What's happening here. Of something bigger happening. Even a small problem. There's nothing much that's been happening. We're on page 5. There's nothing much been happening besides people going on a plane and sitting down and this guy kind of getting this kid's grill. But then that resolves and we kind of don't go anywhere from there. So I think we need to start getting a plot that will echo forward at this point. We need to start getting some sort of rolling momentum in terms of...
I want to see the creepy girl.
Yeah, we want to see the creepy girl. Sorry, Six, I messed up your picture emote.
Do it again.
Again.
Slowly rising into the foreground.
Penny wheels the cart out, locks its wheels, moves. Okay. Airline employee at the elbow. Penny makes a slowly come for ratio. Ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Could I trouble you for some water with... So he doesn't even get whiskey. So I was like, could I trouble you for some water with lemon?
Not something more fun?
Thank you, but no, ma'am. Have they? I guess they've had a pass. So that she dated Trent before, and then she passed him off to Marina, because she was like, "Oh, he's just a man."
I can't tell.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing.
Especially knowing that there's going to be 2 air marshals.
Yeah. Page 5. You know, her relationship to Trent is not super clear. Does she like him? Did she have a past with him? Yeah, we don't know.
Water with lemon. You got it.
Penny heads off. Trent starts relaxing. There's a familiar vacuum noise. He leans into the aisle. Trent's POV first class. 2 priests have entered the plane. Father Enzo, 50s, a short, paranoid-looking man, and Father Donnie, 60s, pleasant, grandfatherly. Almost immediately, a pair of travelers give up their first-class seats. Father Donnie sends them off with the sign of the cross. Do we have like the music? Da-da-da. Do they walk it in like slow motion? Boom, boom, chicka, boom, boom, boom.
Sure.
Again, like, because I know the plot, this feels like an interesting character intro, but there's not. Well,
I would get to this faster, I think. I don't know.
Trent is tensed in his suit. Oh yeah, I would get to this way sooner because we're on page 6 again. Like page 6 is miles into your screenplay. I think that's one thing I can never emphasize enough is start later.
Start earlier?
No, well, start your, make page 1 where most people's page 6s usually are. I guess that, or it could be, but like you want to start as close to the plot as possible. This does feel like,
I think you can still have that stuff, but you can litter it in later.
Yeah.
Like after we know.
Yeah.
After we see all this stuff happen, because then we're like, oh, cool, something's going down.
Yeah, and I don't have, and again, this is putting the sheep before the wolf. I have not seen a possessed person yet in this screenplay.
Switch the attendant intros with the priests. That would be a start, yeah.
It could be, but to some degree, I have not seen a hint of demon possession. So the fact that a priest is walking onto a plane, let's just ignore your logline. Pretend like you've never written a logline. And that's one thing I would always encourage is, the script is standalone. The logline has nothing to do with the script. The logline is I would just separate it. So the fact that we have context from your logline is cheating. If you just think of this as, because that's what happens a lot of times in Hollywood, is there's a desk piled with scripts. And they don't have your logline. They don't have anything. They're just reading the first few pages. And if I read this, I'd be like, well, who cares? There's 2 priests walking on a plane. And some guy was picking on a kid. So I think we need to get to the idea of your story
or at least
a little
hint
sooner.
At
yeah.
it. At least drop some
to get to the significance.
Because I think you're it seems like you want it to kind of be this, the nervousness of him trying to keep his cool and not really making it super obvious, but you could just have some random demon possessed noise coming from, and everybody's like, what's that? And he's like, oh, it's my stomach. It's my stomach. It sounds 667 singing,
Yeah, exactly. Wow, throwing shade. Wow, throwing shade.
No, I mean
it's
it's a compliment. He's in a heavy metal man.
You should just take over next time.
Or whatever. What is it called?
Speak the ancient language.
Metal? What is it?
Suicidal black metal, Danielle.
Suicidal black metal.
Please.
We can say that we've seen him perform.
We have.
I scream high pitched. Well, demons might scream high pitched.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, yeah, just like have that and have somebody be like, "Oh, it's my stomach."
Back to the scenes, late 30s here. Okay, and then another, a giant.
I think this is the other.
Shitface last night lumbering for Sergio. Sat there and Trent chokes back a flash of extreme annoyance. He heads to first class. His eyes both piece. A word. Sergio rolls his eyes and Duff follows. Trent moves a tiny lump in his jump seat back to the cockpit. Decides the curtain across privacy. What's going on? Your buddies at the front office built you another fake mission so you can spread your seed through Canada.
Everybody knows my seed prefers the Miami climate. Nice try though.
Sergio Pet's creeping smiles, knowing loving the hate. Craft's half full. Okay. Low alert route. I got it under control. What? Oh, aircraft. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Rant's cleared it. Besides, we got VIPs in the church.
PJ broke down. 2 heads better than 1, right?
Alright. Okay. So overall, great job. Really, really fun story. I think it's getting way past the Fox Lady's bedtime. What happened?
Ruined again.
What happened?
Picture. Not ruined, but...
You can't win 6. Pretending there's a lot. Wow, that is already changing how I look at these pages. Wow. Obviously, I need a teaser. Exactly. I think that's a really great way to think about it. It's a really great way to think about it. Yeah. Okay. Unless you go make that
6,
face.
6, 7.
But yeah, overall, great job, everybody. I can see the heart, the care, and effort that have gone to these screenplays. I think that is what is brought us to these two as the finalists. And I think, but unfortunately, we have to vote.
Man, that's tough.
So what do you think?
I don't know.
What's our vote for the night?
I like them both. That's tough. I usually have I'll usually feel pretty strongly one way or the other and be like, oh no, definitely X or definitely Y.
I mean, they both had some challenges, but
they both also had some good fun ideas. I think I'm leaning towards Vulturine.
Really? I'm leaning the opposite.
Oh, really?
It's interesting.
Okay. All right.
Sure, flip a coin. How about we let chat vote? Chat out of these two screenplays.
If you were here for both of them.
If you were here for both of them.
Just vote if you only read one.
And you can't vote if you're the writer, because I know you guys will be nice and vote for the other person, and it'll be adorable. But we know you guys are awesome, gracious people. So, let's see. All right. Well, we can take another think. We can take another little think here. All
right.
So I think the things that I thought were working in Vulturine, I thought that for me the tone and kind of some of the errors, like whether it was grammar, stuff like that, felt like this was earlier stage. And I felt like the tone.
That was only really on page 1 that we had those, which obviously is
other little boo boos. I didn't pick out.
Withhold.
Vote nurse, I will withhold. Okay, that's fair. But okay, so let me think. I think with Vulturine, I liked the premise of the demon possession, but we never really saw the promise of the premise. We actually did see the promise of the premise in Sun Ghost. We saw a ghost. We saw it acting. Yes, the timeline was probably a little broken, but I feel like the on the page execution felt a little more developed. Like it felt like there was a few more rounds of editing that had gone through.
Thank you kindly.
The vote goes to the Foxy Lady.
Thank you kindly.
She wins.
I win. No, I think my thought, the reason I liked this one, I think just in general, I just like contained horror and throwing priests and intense air marshals and a demon possessed child into a plane together.
I would agree, but my comeback there is you're voting off the logline. That we have not seen any of that so far.
But just seeing, I mean that's tough.
Because we did see the monster in the internment camp, and that again is also contained horror.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean you're in an internment camp, you can't leave. There's something there.
Containment, it's only in the one place.
Yeah, that's true.
There's never been anything outside the plane. I see what you're saying.
Well, what do you think?
Um,
What did you like about Sun Ghost?
What I liked about it, like you're right. I think that I liked
And
having
I'll
the
say what I
setup
liked
of
about.
the set of the ghost early on, and setting up just some of the like cultural difficulties. I could see how that would come into play. I think the drawbacks were that I just didn't feel attached to any of the characters.
Okay.
Because they weren't really well described. I mean, like Kid, like there was that like nice moment of him.
Yeah. Stress me out.
Nice moment of like watering the plants, but besides that, and like
Sorry.
like the little sister, I guess kind of, but it was so quick that I feel like at least I've spent more time with like Trent, and I think even if some of the lines were kind of intense, there was a lot of humor in them, and
I could see that.
so I think I just ended up feeling more attached to the characters because I got a little more time with them in Vulturine, even if they weren't perfect. Jeffrey!
Gotcha.
Will you just let him do it? I'm sorry. Give me your hand. Try it again.
Sorry, 667.
That like made me mad.
Oof.
That made me mad.
Oh man, sorry, feels good. I actually agree. I think I do like the fact that, but we also, I don't know. I like the fact that Trent is kind of the through line. I feel like I feel more risk whenever there's a really extreme and slapsticky type tone, because then that means that like some of the reality, like that's sort of like a fantasy novel without a very good world building. You don't know what's possible. So even if it's a contained thriller in a strong genre, unless I feel like the tone is a bigger problem than maybe we're giving it credence for in some sense. I feel like the tone is a bigger risk. But again, I like Trent. I think he's a great character. I like the setup. I like, the little like kind of the different little bits of action that are happening in different paces. I think that's a really cool thing that's going on in Vulturine.
That's just to go through too with the drop bits. Oh man. Okay, well let's just
all right. So what do you think?
I don't know. Can we pick both?
Yeah, we can do half votes, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
feels kind of like weak though.
My personal thing is I feel like Sun Ghost, because it seems to have the tone right, and I think that's the biggest thing early on. I feel like the tone is breaker here, but I'm okay with it. Do you want to do Vulturine? I'll do Vulturine.
I'm open. I think you're right. No, I think you're right about the tone, but I also think there's a little bit better character. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, they both still I think they both had a lot of potential, so I don't think it matters that much because I think they're both good.
Yeah, they're both awesome. It's picking between two good options.
I am kind of going off the log line, so. But also, yeah, I don't know.
Vulturine it is.
Should we? No, let's like flip a coin. Don't go with me just because I'm me.
What's that?
Don't go with me just because I'm me.
Was Maleksha Ali trying not to kill anyone at work?
Sun is more refined. That's different. I
knew you all were gonna be nice and vote for the other.
Yeah.
And you guys are very awesome people. Come on, guys.
I like them both. I do.
No, I agree. I think the premise. And I think if we take both into account, the premise probably is still a little stronger in Vulturine. And this is a whole kind of package vote, so I'm down. Vulturine. That's our vote for tonight.
Wow.
Putting it up on
screen. I didn't make him do that, I swear.
No, yeah. I think you're right. But I
did like the Sun Ghost too.
I liked them both. I think they were both really strong. Yeah. I think they were the strongest of the bunch. So great job, everybody. Great job. I know how much hard work goes into these things, and hopefully this.
I'm never that torn between them.
Yeah.
Ever. So that.
And hopefully this helps you in your future revisions as well, because that's what it's all about. Is just getting a better sense of what you're really trying to do, and I think it's gonna do great. So great job, both of you, though. Like great job, the real Arvin. Great job, Shannon.
What did you think about a finished Name of the Wind? I didn't like Wise Man's Fear as much as I like Name of the Wind. But yes, congrats, Shannon.
Congrats, Shannon.
Woo, and also congrats, Arvin.
And congrats, Arvin. I mean, you beat out the other 3 screenplays, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really darn close race.
Nobody touch your keyboards until 667 gets this done. No one. Jeffrey. Yes!
Yay! You did it! Well, what a great way to end.
All right, I needed that. But yeah, good job, guys. I'm going to tell my parents.
Oh, no! Well, great job, all y'all. Y'all did such a great job. And yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more of your work on Scriptshadow and looking forward to reading the big review. And congrats to both of you and have a wonderful, wonderful night. Take care, y'all. Have a great one.
Thanks, guys.